busy, booked, exhausted. Your inbox is screaming at you like a siren. Your calendar is still full. Still calling yourself visible and you're just the best kept secret? Turns out I was right there with you, my friend. Wasn't getting seen, was just the best kept secret. Wasn't getting heard, definitely, kind of getting paid. But here, the magic, my friend. It's a collaboration between Colleen Stubbs and Nicole Borghi. The Voice Lab on the school platform shows you how to use podcast spotlights, summit stages, and simplified, yeah, that's right, simple outreach systems so your visibility actually works. Get seen, get heard, join the free Voice Lab on the school platform, and you're going to get it all. Because if you're working this hard, someone else should know about it. Scan the QR code today. Outreach system. So your visibility.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome back. Hey, here we are. Welcome. It's Thursday. We're back. Everybody's better, doing good, right?
I'm doing better. That's for sure. Boy, I tell you what, being sick just takes it out of you. It's just
Good morning.
crazy. And I feel like the older I get, like it not that it lingers, like I feel better, but I feel weak still and like ick, it just doesn't seem to, I don't know. I don't seem to bounce back as well, right? This over 50 benefits, right? So what are we talking about today? We're going to talk about whether or not you've been ghosted. Let's flash back a minute. I didn't even know what that was because we didn't do that, right? Like if you're Gen X, we didn't ghost. Hell no. We called him up, said our peace of mind, and hung up, right? We had a good time slamming the phone down and ending that conversation. And so now this world of ghosting, have we really been ghosted? Are we being ghosted? What does it even mean? So I guess in this sense of the word, what we're talking about is that when you're reaching out to your leads, when you're sending the emails, when you're sending the text, when you're trying to follow up with people and you hear radio silence, then what does that mean? Are you being ghosted? Are they ignoring you? Are they really not interested? Well, I'll just cut it straight down to the chase and say, if I'm not interested, there's one thing that I do every single time. And you can count on that. And that is that I hit the unsubscribe button. Right? And so if they're not hitting unsubscribe, then you're probably not actually ghosted. That means that there is room for hope that the relationship is being built. Maybe they're just slow to respond. Maybe they're busy. Maybe they don't actually know how to utilize their inbox correctly, where they can have emails go directly into a folder. Maybe they're just watching to see when you bring the next thing that really speaks to them. And so there's a whole lot that goes behind that. But if you think that they're ghosting you, we're going to dive into the truth today. You ready, Nicole?
I am ready. And everything seems to be working now. We are in such a season of change, but what doesn't change is what does that mean, right? So what is this about? We're really helping you to stop, change the visibility and start converting it. And this is what Voice Lab is all about. It's sharing entrepreneurs how to turn visibility into real business growth. What does that mean? It also means absolutely understanding what you're doing and that it's okay. It's okay if people decide to unsubscribe. We'd rather them unsubscribe instead of spamming you because it hurts the small business owner. Yep, you get dinged. It's your social score as a business owner. If people put you in the spam and you truly aren't spamming them, they just don't want to hear from you. And
Nicole,
that's all right.
Do you do that? Do you ever put people in the spam folder?
I put them in the spam folder if I unsubscribe 3 times. Right?
Thank you. Me too.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's when I do. I look at their stuff and I go, here's a nugget that we really want to share with people on this is that hey, you can unsubscribe. You can say, hey, I really am not into you right now, or I signed up for you because I was on a summit. I went and I was in the audience and I kind of liked what you were talking about, but I want to get to know you a little bit better. So hey, I subscribed. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to see what was going on with you and get to know you a little bit better, kind of, a little cyber stalk you. So it is, I do that. But what I do also do is if I like someone and they have good information, but I'm not ready for what they've got, or I'm still kind of teetering on how we can partner up, or if I can refer to them, or if I want to use them or hire them, what I do is I put them in a folder. And when I'm ready for you, that magical little folder is there. I haven't unsubscribed to you. You're not flooding my inbox. You're not going to junk. But what are you doing? You're hanging out in this folder. And when I'm ready for you, I'm going to open that little juicy folder full of great and wonderful goodness right up, and I'm going to go and I'm going to read your stuff, and I'm going to go through a few articles because I'm a researcher by nature, and I'm going to go through a few of those articles and binge those articles, and maybe go to your YouTube page or your social media and find out that, do you have what I like? Are we connected? Is it time that we're aligning? And then I'll contact you. And I think that's a great way to say, hey, I'm just going to store you over here for later. And that's a good way that your inboxes don't get flooded. I know a lot of people are like, there's that crowd of, I don't ever want to hear from you. That's okay. And then there's the crowd of, oh my gosh, my inbox is so crazy, I can't manage it. Well, should you hire an assistant? Or maybe you need to get a little bit more organized. So put that on your calendar, just like you're cleaning out the closet. Because, on an energetic basis, if you clean out your closet, you're making room for new things. You're making room for prosperity. So you want to get that old stuff out. But what is good that you're going to use, right? Who are you going to connect with? Maybe there's somebody in that inbox that you connect with and you talk to and you network with. So you want to be able to refer them. You want to be that good power partner for them. So you're going to want to know a little bit more about them. So keep that there and go ahead and delete the rest of the stuff that doesn't mean anything. It's organization, it's accountability, and you don't have this mess every time you open up the email. But there's also another thing you could do. You can have your business email and a personal email. So maybe not mix the business with pleasure, and realize that you do actually need to go through that. Because there may be some information that you need as a business owner when you're upgrading. And we were just talking, Colleen, about up leveling, right? And when you're ready to up level, there may be something in there that you need. There may be something in there that you want to hear from. And that goes right into your social media. If you feel that people are ghosting you, or you feel that you're ghosted, one, it may just have been an upgrade. Yep, that's right. LinkedIn upgraded so much in these last 3 or 4 months that the pages are constantly changing. I don't know if it's this page or that page, or I got to toggle over here and I got to take a minute and I got to go back through it. So sometimes people may be taking a step back and saying, okay, how is this new platform working? And just when you think you're caught up in all of the upgrades, they change it for you again. So it's kind of hard. So there's a learning curve, there's a growth that's going on online that we have to pause and think about. So take a few minutes instead of frustrating yourself. Take a few minutes and go, you know what? Okay, now I'm back on the platform. If you want people to talk to you, you got to talk to them. Just like going outside and waving hello to your neighbors or saying good morning to people, you need to do that online. So that's where it transfer. And if people are ghosting you, perhaps you need to look at your social media content, what you're putting out, and what groups you're in. So go into people's things. Some people do posting parties, and that moves the needle. It definitely helps. Or make sure maybe it's time for you to change who you're talking to and who you're reaching out to. I know I do it a lot. What I do when that social media goes out, if I'm going to a certain group, like an hour before or during or after, some cushion time within that sandwich of the event, I reach out to those people. That way I'm top of mind, and I want them to know that I thought about them, and I'll go out and I'll go through a few of their posts. And that's
So
just
I want to ask too. So I want to say first, the reason that we go with 3 unsubscribes is because so many people have different lists that are segregated. And so you may be getting Like for me, you may be getting my newsletter. You may be getting invited to speak at events. You may be getting networking connections. So those are 3 different lists that I have that are segregated. And so give yourself the opportunity to unsubscribe from each of the things that they have. And then at 3, put them in the spam folder after that. Now, also, Nicole, do you have your system set up? I don't know the answer to this question in case anybody's wondering. Do you have your system set up so that those people that you want to put in your valuable but not necessary right now folder, that they go in automatically?
Do they go in that folder? Yeah. I sweep it into the folder, and you can do that in the settings. And it's a lifesaver. Jeff's in here on YouTube, and he says 524,000 unread emails in his inbox. Does he have a inbox? Does he have a problem? And he says, "Happy Easter." Yeah. You know what? Yeah, I do. I sweep them into that folder. That's exactly what I'm saying. I sweep them into a folder if I don't want to read it. And tags are great. So put a form together. I'm doing that right now. That's part of my change, is to put a form together to say, "Hey, do you want it?" First of all, in all honesty, if you've subscribed to my stuff, you heard me speak on a stage, or you connected with me somewhere, I talk about stages. And my gift to you is sharing stages, not just that I'm on. Of course, I want to advertise about myself, but my gift to you is sharing other stages, not only other people's stages, but my stages, how to get on the stages, and tips to get on the stages. So if you've subscribed to that and you're in my email, you got my gift, I'm going to share stages. And if you don't want that, that's okay. Unsubscribe. But, connect with people, reach out to people, say hello, say, "Hey, I got something from you." I had somebody reach out to me and said, "Hey, you're the subject line in your newsletter was pretty powerful, so I opened it up and I really liked the article, and it got me to read the article." So people will correspond with you in those articles. So it's a point of contention with some people, but adversely, there are those people that email every day, hot and heavy, like, "Hey, you're going to hear from me all the time." So it's very important, not just in email, but your social media. And what does this have to do with, stages? Is that you really you need those touch points. We're in a digital age of competition where we are running and trying to compete for people's attention. And so in doing this, do you want to overwhelm? People are tired of those sales and overwhelm and this mega that and this keyword of phrase that. So what are you consistent, and are you telling a story that connects people to that as well? And that's where it converts back into the stage. So pause and reassess what you're saying, how you're saying it, and who you're saying it to. And do understand that, if you've connected with people, you're going to hear from them. You've given them your email. That's what's great. And as an entrepreneur, we have to look at it that way. It's a business. This is an email. People signed up. It goes back to the value of money when we're asking for the sale. How much are you valuing your business? Is it a business? And this is a form of communication.
Yeah, I agree. And then when we get into the emails, and I really need to go over mine again, so I'm glad we're having this conversation. And just for those listening, this isn't something that's one and done. Unfortunately, there are a lot of things in our business that we can set and forget, but this isn't one of them. Like, as we communicate and as we learn our clients and our prospects better, we're always having to upgrade our communication and the way that we do it and the message and things like that. So I need to go back through my communications and just make sure to give them a little refresh, right? And when I do that, Nicole, one of the things that I like to do, and if you get my emails, you know this, I like to have multiple touch points in my emails. And why? Well, because when I came online, when I started building a business 2.5 years ago, I think they were saying then that you had to have 17 touch points with somebody before they would interact with you and think about becoming a customer. And so what I do is I go in and I add, maybe it's a link back to one of my blogs, or a link to an article, or a link to an event, but I add things that they can touch and open in another screen. So there are lots of touch points in there, links to get on a call, things like that. I just like to make sure that there are things like just interactive links Maybe it's even just a PDF they can download, or maybe it's a link to an exercise. I know last year for my birthday, one of the links that I sent out was a link to meditation that I had purchased and I wanted to share with all of my followers for my birthday. So just things like that that help build relationships because you're giving extra value, and value that you're giving outside of your own actually compounds your deliverability and your value that they see, that they perceive, right?
Absolutely. You want to attract these people, and this is how we're doing it. The more they see you, the more touch points you have, the more you're talking to them, the more you're connecting with them. You'd pick up a phone, right? And we can't pick up a phone on a list of 3,000, right? You can't pick up a phone on a list of 25,000. So how else are you going to stay relevant? And I think that's what you do with your what is it? Your like your Sunday journal or something where you're
Yeah,
talking about
my
your
CEO
business.
journal. Yep.
Right. So when you're talking about your business and talking about how that works, when I send newsletters out, sometimes it's talking about where I started in my journey of sometimes it's even those points of frustration when you're doing the thing and you're like, hey, I don't know what I'm doing, or I'm absolutely overwhelmed, and here's the mistake I made so you don't have to. Because sometimes it's those questions we don't ask, right? You want to attract those clients, you want to be in their face. And that's what this is absolutely doing. When you're influencing your audience, you've got to get on camera. And if you're going for 3 months, right? We're in our third month this year, and here's what we're doing with Voice Lab. It's a small push to get out there. It's
Yeah.
less. We're
Fourth,
influencing our audience. What?
fourth month. This is
Fourth
April.
month? It's April already.
No,
I
I'm so
know.
excited. And
Gosh.
when you say
Gosh.
that we talk about the struggles we have, that's interesting you say, because when I was putting my newsletter together, last night when I was coming off of the flu bug. And I talked about the fact that I had to cancel my master class because I had the flu, and so just different things like that. This is your opportunity to be relatable while also adding value. And I think that that's huge. What links do you put, Nicole? I know you put links in yours that are to join events, or listen to or participate in events, things like that. What other links do you have in yours?
In my newsletters, so I have a section to contact me, right? So at the bottom of my newsletter, even if I'm just promoting an event, or whether it's my normal Monday newsletter, I put the a link always to get on my calendar, because it's all about getting seen and heard. And I want you to get on the stage, or I want you to, you know, craft your stage. So if I'm helping you and assisting you, you can find me when you're ready to come in and say, hey, Nicole, I want to do an event. I want to do a podcast. How does this whole thing work? I want to do a summit or a workshop. Nicole, how does all this stuff work? Well, when you're looking at that, or talking about giving a master class on Voice Lab, in the school platform, uh, when you're doing that, you got to be able to get a hold of me. And I don't want to be the best kept secret. I'm giving you all this great information. You need to be able to connect with me. So I absolutely drop my scheduling link in there, especially if I'm putting out for a summit and speakers, which we have a few more speakers spots left on the authority code and plot twist. And so you guys, message me, DM me if you're on LinkedIn. Just reach out. You can reach out to me. All my information's on YouTube as well. I put that information in there. I put my LinkedIn in there, and the school platform in the group, because you can do absolutely the easiest ways to reach out to me. And that's what I want. I want to connect with you. I want to be there. And I see that I think that's a mistake sometimes when people don't do that. They don't put their branding in their newsletter. They don't put, because if you're reading through something and then you think maybe it's the client you're getting on the phone with, and it's a different, maybe it's Mark you're getting on a one-to-one call with, so you think it's his newsletter, you want to read a little bit about him so you're ready for the call, right? You want to kind of cyber stalk and go through the Webernet of things and get to know the person you're talking to. Makes for a better connection. Maybe you're reading their newsletter and realize it's a different Mark. And so, but you don't realize that until you're halfway through the newsletter, because they never put any branding on there. They didn't put any connection information. I can't click a link and go to your LinkedIn page. I want to know more about you. So I absolutely, and Go High Level is great with this. You can add the link to the photo. So
I
the
was just
big,
gonna say that. I'm so glad you
yeah,
said that.
the big photo I put on top, if I'm
Yeah.
telling you, join the event, and it's free, click the photo, and it especially works on the phone too. And then there's links throughout the feed, and then there's links on the bottom. So there's at least 3 places for you to just get click happy with and go
Oh,
to the event.
Nicole, you're so humble. I feel like there should be 5 to 7. I think there should be 5 to 7 links. And when I came online, so most of you know that I started in the brick and mortar business world 37 years ago, and I've had a bazillion, no, only 8 brick and mortar businesses. Love those, but it's a little bit different online. And so when I came online, one of the first newsletters I got, the gentleman who I subscribed to would give you content ideas every week or templates every week, things like that in his newsletter. They would be intermixed, kind of like an Easter egg. So you kind of had to hunt a little bit for it. But I love that. And I stayed subscribed for a long time for that. Now, our friend, Nicole and I's friend, Billy Salmons, he always does an introduction in his as well. And so it's like, hey, the person I met this week that I think you need to know, and then a link back to them. And so that's also another way of borrowing their audience too. So that's another way that you can put links in there. And I have a couple strategies I'm going to implement this quarter for a new link that I'm going to put in mine. I've also shared tools and resources, and not because I get an affiliate from them, because most of them I don't, but just to be able to say, hey, you know what? So and so told me about Manus, and I use Manus now. I love Manus, or Claude, or maybe it's Restream that somebody taught me how to use, or Riverside, just a tool that I use. One time I actually came on and I shared a link to Octobuddy. Now listen, you don't make but 16 cents or something if you sell an Octobuddy for Amazon. But this bad boy sticks on the back of your phone like that, and you can stick it on any glass surface to do your recording. So a window, in your car, in your office, somewhere it changes the lighting for you. It's an amazing little tool. But I'm always adding little things like that just to be helpful. Maybe something you didn't know. And I've never had anybody complain about those. But I love the fact that we can have a strategy where we're getting lots of touch points, where we're really sharing as if we're with friends, right? Because if you have this knowledge, even though you think it's maybe a little bit mundane, when you share it with others, it increases your value. And if you were to go to lunch with your girlfriends and you were to sit down and just talk about your week, of course you would talk about all these things with them. How did your business intersect with your life? What new tool did you learn or use? What resource did you absolutely love, which would be like an article or a blog post or some informational bit of things? Who did you meet that you'd love to share with the world? And what do you have going on in the next week? I mean, these are things you can just put in there. And like Nicole said, if there's somebody that doesn't like it, there's an unsubscribe button. And you can also, like Nicole was saying, you can make an opt-out form. And an opt-out form gives them the option to opt out of the many different things that you share. And so I think mine has 5 different things on it that they can opt out of. And when they do, I'm so grateful every time somebody uses that opt-out form, because when they use that, then I can go back and take them off of those lists and really segregate my list. So I'm sending them exactly what they want. To be honest, there are people that only get my newsletter. There are people who only get my follow-up from when I speak. There are people that only want to be on there for me to connect them to other people for networking. And that's great too. However they want to have that relationship, I'm allowing them to build the boundaries around that and giving them the respect of doing that. And then when I send my email, I select the correct list of people to send it to. So I'm not hitting everybody with everything, right? And so I think that's hugely key in building out your email list and really interacting with people, is to make sure that you can segregate it and hit the right people with the right thing.
Right. And it's a gold mine. And what you're talking about with, sharing something. And then people go, when you're talking about your Octobuddy, first of all, you're making money off of it. Secondly, right, you're affiliating it.
Yep.
You're affiliating it. You're making money. So you're making money from couple different places. And then you want to also realize that just like you said, you're telling your friend, you know, you ever have that friend go, you didn't tell me about that really cool thing. Where'd you get those jeans? Where'd you get that Octobuddy? I want to know about it. I want to know about Restream. And I tell people because, you know, I use this as when I Restream and I use it from Zoom, I tell people, hey, here's how you use it. Here's why I use it. And here's why I don't use something like StreamYard at this point in my business because it's unnecessary. I don't need it. And this is, you know, when you start to realize this is how you kind of add this into your business and you're implementing different streams of income. And this is what we're doing. We're changing the pace of how do we use these gold mines. You don't have time for 3,000 people to connect to, but you do have time for those people that choose to respond. And it helps your not only your message because you're in an aligned state of the people that you're working with, but it also helps your stats because if those people never open it, then they're not there. So what about that? When people aren't opening that, because you know it's you've got to get on the stage, you've got to speak, you got to know that not everybody's ready for you now. They may be ready for you later. And this is the reason. Otherwise, you wasted your time speaking. Why
Yes.
get on the stage?
Let's talk about them not responding because some people just don't, and that's fine. Other people you really care about, you're like, hey, we got on a call and I really valued what we shared, and why are you not responding to me? And so what I've done, and I have a few people that I'm still friends with that will tell you, I just call them out. I send an email that's like, apparently you didn't feel the same way. They open it and I'm like, okay, I thought we had something great when we connected, but now I see you're not opening my emails. And I really would like to interact with you about this or that or the other, whatever that is. So all you need to do is reply to this and let me know what's going on. If you've moved up in life, leveled up, you don't want to build a relationship with me, whatever that looks like, just let me know. And oddly enough, people usually respond and they're happy to respond, but you have to have that hook in your subject line that really says, hey, open this, or why are you ignoring me, or something to that, or you're making me sad. I think that's the one I sent to Billy, said, you're making me sad. And he's like, oh my gosh, why did I make her sad? He's like, oh, because I didn't answer her email. Well, let's answer that. And I think, Nicole, before we jump into the stages part, let's just go back a little bit and talk about, you can't necessarily, I think that you should send 3 to 5 emails a week. That's my thought. Everybody has a different pattern. The truth of the matter is, whatever pattern you establish in sending your emails is going to be what your prospects expect. And so you set that expectation. That's on you. It needs to be enough that you stay top of mind, and enough that you're sharing all of the value that you have, right? It needs to be a multi-touch email strategy where they can touch for all the different things. Think of your email list as your friend group. These are the things that you're going to share about your business. So it's your business friend group. You're going to share where you are in your business, what's coming up that's new, what worked, what didn't work, any tools, resources you have, any cool people you met, where they can find you and how to connect with you, right? And then your long tail conversions. And so what that is that you're going to keep talking the same thing, not just shorten, but the long version of it, because it does convert eventually. And then persistence, you need to be patient. Do we have a clip about that? I thought we had a clip about patience. Do we have an Alex clip about patience?
We have a clip, but I can't play it with the setup right now because it's not gonna. We'll use it the next time.
Okay. So anyway, sometimes it's a patience game, and it's not just doing it and then being frustrated over it, right? And so many of us, frustration is totally human, and I get it, because when we're standing face to face with someone communicating, we want them to make eye contact. We want them to acknowledge us either by body language or by words that they heard us, and you don't get that with an email list. So you have to learn patience over being impatient. You just got to keep at it and keep being diligent, keep sharing. And the important part about doing it weekly is you have a lot more to share that way, and you're not skipping things. If you go a long time without seeing your friends and you jump in, you're like, oh, and da-da-da-da, and they're like, wait a second, I didn't even know you were doing that. Well, if you're sending this weekly and letting them know where you are in your business, they're not going to have that moment when they're like, what are you talking about? Because you're taking them on a journey with you, right? And so that brings us into stage strategy. And I love this, Nicole. You're such an expert at this. And I love, so one of the things we're going to talk about is seating your CTA early. And I love that. I'm just learning this. And so it's something you really have to practice to get good at, but I love that part of it. Let's take it from there, Nicole.
Yeah, so what we're talking about is those expectations during your talk, right? So I just use the stages that I build for clients and the stages that I build for myself, and even workshops. What expectation are you setting? So coming in here, we talk about when we get on the stage, I just use this podcast because here you've been on this journey with us. What are we talking about today? What takeaways can you expect from today? What highlights can you expect from today? Are you getting your pen and your paper ready? And are you having, is it a write or down, or do you need to put something down? You should have that. Here's the expectations, because even with the master class we just had last night with Laura Doman, and she's talking about, boring equals broke, right? If you're boring on camera, you're not animated, you're not talking to the camera, or you're not giving good information and there's no fluctuation in your voice, are you really monotone, right? Are you basically a boring person on camera, because you are talking, I know, to yourself, but you should feel like you're talking to a friend, so it's easier with a co-host. Even when you're doing master classes in that manner, you still want to set the expectations for people. Hey, this is going to be about a 2-hour master class, a 2-hour workshop, a 2-hour summit, whatever the thing is. Here's what we're covering today. We'd love for you to come off camera. If you can't, at least participate in the chat, because people are multitasking. Guess what? They're going to do that. Whether you like it or not, that's what you're going to do. Also, if you're setting the expectation that, hey, this is a hands-on class, you came here to learn. It's not just to sit back and listen to the great story that's getting told right now, but you came to a workshop, expect to work, right? So set those expectations. Let people know. Let's flip the script and let people know it's time that they can join. It's time right now in this workshop that they're going to get a takeaway, that if they're writing something down, if there's a PDF attached, if there's a video you're going to show that you put together that's about maybe a minute, 2 minutes at the most long, of, hey, I want you to do this video. I'm going to seed it out. Here's what's in this video. We're going to talk today about being visible. We're going to talk about the use of the camera today. So that I put this presentation together. It's something that has been received good response. And here's what the expectation is from this video. Then we're going to get it back into it, and we'll go for Q&A. You want to actually get something. Somebody's given a free workshop, or even if you're paying for it, participate in it. If you can't be on the camera at all times, you have to get up to grab your tea or use the restroom. You are human. It's okay. But participate. Go with a sense that you're going to participate in something and ask questions. I did have somebody come through a workshop and they signed up on LinkedIn, and they were kind enough to join and accept the invitation and then show up. But the funny thing was, hey, what brought you here today? Oh, you did. Okay, how did we connect? Oh, we connected on LinkedIn. Oh, all right. What was the, what provoked you to come today to this particular topic in this workshop? Oh, well, I connected. I thought I'd come in and support. Awesome. Hopefully you get something that you can take away for your business. If not, thanks for being here. Let people know. Don't cut people out. And that's what we have to do, is we have to have communication, and the communication also works both ways. You know me, I'm going to tell you the truth, what happens behind the scenes. I was at a workshop last week, and I felt that I was being scolded by one of the speakers. I know that they were excited. I know that they thought that the sales that they were talking about in the presentation was important. It was. They had incredible amounts, probably 20 plus years of salesmanship. But every time the other speaker spoke, they interrupted. Oh, no, no, that's wrong. That's wrong. You didn't do this. You didn't have all this. You need to do this. Nobody does this. Nobody wants to hear that. Nobody's buying into that. I want to talk to you. I want you to be passionate. But if you're going to come in and tell me how wrong I am, obviously I'm wrong, because I decided to come here and know that I need to learn something. So remember, there's a kindness to it, There are truths that need to be told, don't mince your words, but as well as, are people going to tune you out? Are people going to leave your event? Are people not going to come back because you told them that they were incredibly stupid and wrong? So that's not the way to approach it. So approach it with that you're sharing something with them that, hey, this is a mistake some people make, and it's okay if you did because I did. And that's where I always come from. So you want to share with people what the talk is about. You want to share with people and let them ask the questions and say, hey, we're not going to address that right now. We will address that in the next part of this. Or, hey, that's not the question we need to answer. Remember who you're talking to. Remember that you're talking to people that are potential clients of yours, or maybe have joined you in a partnership somewhere and you want to keep them. So you don't want to drive them out. So remember that you're going to keep them with some love. You're going to give them some great points. You're going to give them some bold truths on maybe some mistakes that are made in the industry, but you're going to do it with some fun and some laughs. And also seed your CTA.
Oh, yes.
Because people say a lot of times, stay for the end of the master class and I'm going to give you a bonus of value. Well, there's always going to be the one person in their room that doesn't want to hear the sales pitch. You should sales pitch because you've spent a lot of time with it, but they don't want to hear it. So they'll probably leave. There is the other person that can only stay for a few minutes, but might want to hear more. Ask them to jump on the call. Say, hey, I've got a great value I'm going to share with you today. I will share it a little bit later, but hey, this is the new thing. Like I would say the other day on the podcast and yesterday in the workshop, I let people know. I alluded to, hey, within this next week, there's going to be a list for events. And of course, I'm plugging this for Voice Lab as well, but it's an example that there's going to be a list coming up soon that if you have events that you want to share, that you need speakers for, if you have podcasts that you want to partner with, that you need guests for, we're going to share a list of that. That's coming up soon. But I'm seeding it. I'm plugging it, I'm seeding it, and I'm marketing it. Hey, I've got a great thing. I've got a list. Maybe at the end of the workshop, maybe you're talking about guest speaking spots. At the end of this workshop, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the list of guest speaking spots that are coming up in the Voice Lab on the school platform. So you're going to want to tune in for that. There's going to be a little bit more. Let them know, hey, it's coming back. Stay after the commercial. We're back in 2 and 2, right? Chuck used to do that. This is what we're going to talk about on the other side. So seeding that call to action. And then, of course, you want to reinforce with value. The next step. What do you want to tell people? You constantly want to remind them that this is step 1. We're getting into step 2, and this is what we're going to do. And you want to speak it again. The key has always been 3 times. You want to say it magically, right? The phone number in those old commercials, when people give out the phone number, the formula still works the same. Hey, 702-555-5555. That number again. And then you're going to want to repeat it 3 times, and then you're going to want to repeat it again. And so seeding that throughout. It's just like when you were talking about, Colleen, the email. The 3 links that I was talking about are only in the top portion. That's not all the links that are on the bottom of the page. So there's separate sections. So upcoming events, there's a couple links there. Get on a call with me. There's 2 links there. Get into my Facebook. There's a couple links there. So there's several links seated throughout, so people can just get click happy and find out a little bit more about me. But this is really what we're looking at when this all comes around. And then workshops and master classes should absolutely be a desire and not just to deliver info. Interact with people. Interact with people. People are there. That nobody wants those pre-recorded workshops. They don't want the audio. They don't want, unless they're in a class with you, they may want that later, because a lot of people podcast, they listen at the gym. But what is the quality that you're bringing? So if it's a lot of Q&A and it's not just information, it may be a little bit, that may be a variable. But look at that people are interactive and that they feel that they're learning something. There's something that they can take away. Talk to them. Don't talk at them. Talk to them, engage with them, and then they'll come back for more. And those workshops need to go on a few times so people can know that they're going to learn something from you, right?
Absolutely. And I love what you're saying about seeding your CTA early and not just at the end. And one of the ways that I try to do that is to say to people throughout, hey, if you have any questions, go ahead and write those down. Take note of those, and then let's get on a call and I'll answer those directly. I'd love to sit and talk to you about those. And then also when you're reinforcing the things that you've already said, you can always say, okay, so we just went over this and these 3 steps that go with it. And now we're moving on to this, and then we're going to get into this. And then when you get to the end of the second section, you say, okay, to start with, we started with the simplification and we went over these 3 things. And then we covered automation. And now we have covered those 3 things in automation. And now we're looking at delegation or whatever your third section is, and you move on. But just bringing back to them, bringing them full circle again and again and again is the repetitiveness that you need to make sure that they understand the value and the consistency. And I think right here, let's talk a little bit. We talked about the 5 to 7 touch points, and those come after your post event. Those can come when you take your leads and plug them into your CRM. Now, you're also going to take the actual event. Take notes during the event and take those things that stood out to you or questions that people asked and go back to your email workflow and edit them a little bit to include those so that what you're doing is you're carrying on the storyline. You're continuing what was important to that specific audience during your time on stage, right? You want to be able to continue that thing so they stay and remember. So when they open your email, it's not an email about what you talked about. It's actually specifically about the questions or examples that were given right then. So it's still top of mind to them. It's just repeating again what you just went through, right? And then your CRM can track your engagement levels. And that's super important to make sure that you have that. And then also have your automations built out so that you can re-engage anytime people don't interact with you right away.
Right. Absolutely. You want to continue the story. You want to remind them of what went through. And there was a lot of a misnomer, and we're just about out of time. This has been a great conversation, and thank you for being patient with us today. We had a bit of a few hiccups with some Wi-Fi and some storms and whatever else was going on today. But that's the power of consistency and working on. So do remember that this is, you want to continue the story. The storyline is important. The connection is important. So always follow up and reconnect. And that is what we're doing, is we're building the trust. We're building the value. And we're really truly educating people, in this journey. All right, guys, have a great day. We will see you Monday for Monday Morning Business Foreplay.
You bet. Have a
All
good
right.
one.
All right.